And we are live. Welcome back, everybody. Happy Monday morning. Welcome back to the Outer Rim, so to speak, as Urs likes to say. Guys, it is a wonderful, bright-eyed, bushy-tailed Monday morning here. We got Ram in the house, everybody. Ram, how's it going, man? How's your weekend been? How's your week looking?
It is. Life is busy. I am, like I said, getting ready to go through a massive move, drive about 14 hours down to sunny Florida for the next stage of my career, and I have zero time for Swiggle. I don't even know what's going on. I haven't even started Conquest. Probably won't even click the OK button to join Conquest. Let's just be honest.
I hear you, man. I mean, they call it Scam Quest for a reason. Like, it's not exactly everybody's favorite thing in the world. Let's be honest here. Guys, if you want to learn more about how terrible Scam Quest is, or maybe you love it and you want to learn some tips on how to do better on it, if you want to learn any of that information, guys, you need to get over there. Check out part 1 over on Ram's channel. You can find the link for that description down below in the video description, guys. And then come back over here for part 2. You guys know the routine. With that being said, let's go ahead and get into part 2, guys. We're going to be taking a look here at the next thing, which is our kind of shocking sleepers segment. We like to look at shocking sleepers usually when we get into a new GAC season. We're going to be starting a 3v3 season here this week. And Ram and I are going to be taking a look at what we think are some shocking 3v3 sleepers that you guys might be able to use here. So let's go ahead and pivot over to that, guys, and check it out. We're going to start out with my 3v3 sleeper team. And this is very, to be clear, very Datacron dependent. If you do not have the right Datacron for this, guys, it is not going to work very well at all for you. But there has been footage. Now, take this with a grain of salt. I'll explain why in a moment. There has been footage of, in 5v5 at least, the CHAZE team under Saw Gerrera in particular. You could still have this team work pretty well under maybe like a wedge lead, but it's not going to do near the same as it will under a Saw lead. But when you have the CHAZE duo, Chirrut and Baze, for any of you guys that were not around for the CHAZE meta, with the Chirrut Datacron guys, this team is insanely good. They stack a crap ton of offense, and they literally in 5s are beating GLs. It is that strong of a Datacron. It is doing that much work under a Saw lead. Now, the reason I'm intrigued to see how this works is 2 reasons. One, obviously 5v5 is different than 3v3, but I think in 3v3, this team actually is going to be even more difficult to beat. Will they do as much on offense? That I don't know. But I think even if you're looking just for a random throw your opponent off defensive team, this could be really good. The other issue is that Chirrut may not be working as intended. Whether that is a good thing or a bad thing, I don't know. We'll talk about that more here in a minute. Ram, what are you thinking on this? Are you thinking that this has the potential to beat GLs in 3s, or do you think it's not going to be quite as effective in 3s as it is compared to 5s? What are you thinking, sir?
So first off, I want to preface this by saying no one likes 3v3. So I honestly could not care less because it's 3v3 and it's trash. However, if you are someone that likes 3v3s, I think this could probably do some serious work, especially after seeing Chirrut's Datacron. Hopefully it's underperforming, not overperforming, because if it's overperforming, then you're probably not going to get the same result that you want out of it once they fix it. But if it's underperforming, it might actually punch up a little bit more. Right. But no, the interaction that this team has, the amount of damage that Chirrut can end up putting out, and how thick Baze can be, plus Saul with just how Saul's kit works, it's a fun team to use, and I don't know if I could see it beating GLs. I could definitely see it beating A-tier teams. I don't know if I would say S-tier teams, though. But I again, haven't really experimented in 3v3, in all honesty, to know what it could do. And I've only seen, I think, one person on stream do this in 5v5.
Yeah.
So even then, it's like, I don't really know what it could do in 3s necessarily.
Yeah, I think it's definitely pretty niche. And I would agree. I think it's not going to be as effective in 3s. I mean, you think about 3v3s versus 5v5s. In 3v3s, GLs are king. When you have fewer characters at your disposal on the team, it just amplifies how good the GLs are and their kits and everything. So I would anticipate this isn't going to do as well in 3v3 as it does in 5v5. I am intrigued to see, if people put this on offense or if they put it on defense. I would think on defense, this has the ability to hold pretty well. But I would think, for instance, like a Gas team, even though Gas is way worse in threes, I wouldn't be shocked if Gas could beat this because of the insane number of buffs that this team's going to gain. His offense is just going to go through the roof. So I wouldn't be shocked if this team can be beaten by a lot of, A-tier teams, like you said, Ram, on defense. But I do think it'll beat a lot of pretty high-end A-tier teams on offense. One thing to say, guys, here, obviously, this is with the Datacron. Without the Datacron, this is, what, a C team at best. And that Datacron does require your Chirrut to be at Relic level 5. I know a lot of people at this point have bays at the higher relics because of Leia. A lot of people have worked towards Saw because of Cal Kestis and things like that. So this is a little bit more of a niche team, definitely a higher end player team, whale territory / very, very end game players. But if you happen to be one of the people that has these 3 characters at Relic levels, or even if you've got Wedge, for instance, at Relic levels, because I know for me in my roster, I have Wedge, but I don't have Saw. So if I had Chirrut and Baze at Relic 5, but Wedge at Relic 3, I'd throw that in just to see. Heck, put that on defense, see what happens. It might confuse some people. It might get you a hold on defense just because it's something that people don't know how to use and don't know how to beat. So certainly a very interesting team, I think. Ram, you raised a good point with the... I'm so irritated that... We've talked about CG and their communication. Why wouldn't you specify what is happening with this data, this Datacron? Is it that it's doing too much or not enough? Because now, if the fact of the matter is that it's overperforming, well, then I'm not putting this on defense. Because if they fix that right before GAC starts, and suddenly it's terrible and can be beaten by a lot of stuff, then I don't want that on defense. You know what I mean? Like, I just wish they would give us a little bit more information. I understand that you're not going to detail how you're going to fix it and what you're going to do. That's fine. I get that. But at least tell us whether it is overperforming or underperforming. It just, again, it goes back to the lack of communication from them. I just don't understand why they can't give us a little bit more on this. I don't know. Man.
I'll tell you why. They want you to whale.
Oh,
they want you to invest.
That's a good point.
And if they tell you that it's underperforming,
yeah,
then obviously that's going to make you want to invest because they know that you're gonna, that they're gonna fix it
right
and make it actually go, and so you can be like, oh yeah, that's great, cool. But if they tell you that it's overperforming, then no one's going to want to invest in it.
That's
but if
true.
they leave it blanket, then everybody's gonna be like, well, maybe it's underperforming, and so I'll just invest in it anyways. And then come to find out it's overperforming, and they nerf it, and then you just wasted your investment. But at least they got your investment out of you.
That's a great point. I had not thought about that at all, to be honest with you. I just figured that it was that they didn't know what was going on, but that's actually a very valid point.
You have to think like someone who does not care about this game and only wants to make money. That's the smart decision behind it. That's how you have to think like CG, okay?
It's true.
If you put that in perspective, things that don't make sense will all of a sudden make sense.
I like it. Ram, what are you thinking in terms of a 3v3 team here that could be a little bit of a shocking sleeper in terms of maybe it works well on defense, maybe it works well on offense? What are you thinking here to use in 3v3s?
So, again, 3v3... horse manure crap. No one cares. But if you are someone that likes a solid defensive team, and I think this team's already been kind of floated around with the previous Datacron set, but I think it's going to get a lot better with the current Datacron set that's out. Dark Trooper, Moff Gideon, Scout Trooper, and Stormtrooper. Stormtrooper is just naturally thick anyways, especially if you have him up at like Relic 5 or Relic 7. He's just naturally thick. Then you pair that with the Imperial Remnant stuff, on top of Scout Trooper and how their whole interaction works. And Dark Trooper Moff Gideon brings a whole new, likeness to the team, and that just really pumps it up. But then you add the Datacron on top of it, where they bring in Dark Trooper. So now you have a 4-man squad against typically a 3-man squad. You put this on defense, I think it's going to hold fairly well if someone who doesn't know what they're doing goes up against it, because it's very thick. And you have your Dark Trooper that's able to punch out some damage. You've got Dark Trooper Moff Gideon's obviously doing stuff. And you have Scout Trooper that's able to, swap turns or, do whatever Scout Trooper does. However that kit works. I haven't really messed around with it because, like I said, I haven't been here. And then Stormtrooper is just sitting there tanking hits left and right. I think it could be a very powerful defensive team. Probably, I'd say mid A tier. Again, don't think this would hold against GLs. I don't see that being the case. But I think if someone was to take maybe gas or maybe I don't know. I wouldn't say DR. I think DR would walk over pretty easily, but I think gas might struggle a little bit.
See, I'm intrigued. So one, this is, I think, a very good defensive comp. Obviously, both of these teams we've talked about today are kind of limited because either A, you need a brand new character, or B, you need the top end Datacron. And I would, to some degree, you need the Datacron for this team too. But what I think is really intriguing with this team is that Datacron. So in 5s, at least, I know AdRad is a pretty strong counter to this. And in terms of like when I'm in GAC and I'm looking for what I'm going to use to counter a team like this, I'm happy using an AdRad team here. If I have to go up to the GL level to beat this, I am not happy. That's an absolute win for the defensive team if I'm using a GL against this team. The problem in 3v3, so one, I think it's going to be sketchy already to try to use an AdRad, for instance, against this. Just because they're not as effective in 3s as they are in 5s. But when you throw that Datacron on here and suddenly you've got a Dark Trooper punching your AdRad, like, you're in trouble. Like, I think that with that Datacron in particular, this team essentially becomes, I would argue, almost A plus S tier, because I think you're going to have to use a GL to beat it. I'd be intrigued to see if Gas could beat this. Darth Revan, I don't think that he would beat it. In a 5v5 setting, I could see Malgus beating it. I don't know if he'd beat it in 3v3s either. It probably depends on the comp. Maybe if you run Malgus with Revan and Basti, it might beat it. But yeah, I don't know, man. I'm really intrigued to see how this works at large, especially with the Kron. I think that Kron makes a big difference here. Because well, think about it. Troopers can beat Revan teams because of Dark Trooper. So if this team's like Troopers on steroids, there's a good chance that team's not going to be able to beat it because of that Dark Trooper. That Dark Trooper really is going to be a game changer, I think, in how this team works. One thing that I think is also interesting with this, a lot of people would maybe ask about this, Ram. So typically you want your OG Gideon with your Dark Trooper Moff Gideon. You don't have him here in this comp. I'm intrigued. Why do you not have him included here? What's kind of the bonus or the perk of not having him on this comp?
So in 5s, absolutely. I think it goes without saying you need Gideon there. Gideon just provides a lot to the team. But in 3s, there's so many other comps that you have limited resources, and to get the job done and still maximize other spots of your roster, I don't think Gideon is necessarily needed here, because you have everything that Scout Troopers bring to the table, which is a lot. And you have obviously Dark Trooper Moff Gideon, which speaks for himself. And then Stormtrooper, like I said, is the butt of the tanking, right? He's just there to soak up the hits. So regular Moff Gideon, this allows you to take him away and put him still with a Padme. Right, where you have Gidme, that's able to still do a lot of really good work. We've talked about that before. Gidme does a lot of really good work, especially in 3s.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Having Gideon there, I think that's still more valuable than something that I think if you were to take out, in my mind, I would take out probably Scout Trooper. If you were to replace Scout Trooper with Gideon, it's still probably going to get the same results. Right, the things that are beating it before, probably still going to beat it. Things that weren't beating it before, probably still going to struggle.
Yeah, so you raise a good point. I would say one of the perks of having Gideon in the team is one, turn meter, manipulation, and two, to some degree, some of that stacking offense. But But Scout Trooper, for those of you that haven't faced this team yet, I've faced it probably 2 or 3 times in 5s now. That Scout Trooper, if you let him hang out for a long time, man, does he start doing some damage. I forget who he one-shot we were facing it with. But it was, I want to say it was the AdRad team we were using, and he one-shot my K2SO. And I have a Relic 5 well-modded K2SO, and he one-shot him. He did something like 180,000 crit one-shot. Like, it was bananas. So I think even with Gideon not being there, you still have that heavy hitter, whether it be Dark Trooper himself with the summon or Scout Trooper. Like, you just... Yeah, I think like you said, man, that team is still fully functional even without OG Gideon in that team. And it really gives you a lot of flexibility. The Gidme teams are so good in 3v3. It allows you to do a ton of stuff. It's definitely not worth taking that away, I think, in my opinion. Let us know in comments, guys. What are some of the 3v3 teams you're looking forward to using the most? What are maybe some if you like Datacrons? I know a lot of people don't, but what are some of the Datacrons that you're looking forward to trying out the most in 3v3? I'd be intrigued to see what you guys have to say on that. And what do you think about these teams that we gave you guys? Do you think that those are going to be viable options for you? Do you think that we're totally out of our mind and just high-end players that are totally out of touch with the rest of the player base? Let us know what you guys think. I'd be intrigued to know. I imagine there are a lot of people out there right now that are thinking that, like, well, I don't have these teams. What are you guys talking about? But, hey, we're excited about it, guys. Let us know what you think. Next up, Ram, we're going to be taking a look at some Relic packs. So the Relic packs just came back in the store today as of recording. They'll be available, obviously, when the video drops as well. And one of the things that we like to do, guys, here is called a segment called Treasure or Trifling.
Treasure or trifling.
Oh, apparently there's no audio, but you guys got to see the picture. That's really important.
Picture's worth 1,000 words.
I don't know why the audio didn't work, but anyway, treasure or trifling.
You don't know why the audio doesn't work?
No, I'm not more
on a Shaka video.
I don't
really?
know, man. I don't know. I thought the picture was there. There's no audio. Who knows? We'll work on that next time. But we do like to look at occasionally some packs, guys, that drop and kind of give you our thoughts on whether this is something that could be worthwhile, whether it's something that's a total waste, or if it's something that's kind of somewhere in the middle that maybe if you spend a little bit, it wouldn't hurt to look at getting, that kind of a thing. So we're going to be taking a look at the Relic packs here, guys, today. So for those of you that don't know, we have the different level of Relic amplifiers, basically. So these are the materials that you would scrap with the scavenger. This is not what's the word for the energy that I'm blanking on? Cantina stuff. Signal data. It's not signal data, guys, to be clear. This is just the scrappable stuff. So we've got the Carbonite circuit boards for 500. They're all 500, but we've got Relic here, Bronziums, Chromiums, Erodiums, Electriums, Zinbuildles, and Impulse and Arrow Magnifiers. All of them are 500. The amount that you get obviously varies from pack to pack. For instance, with the Carbonite one, you can get between 100 to 300. And again, there's some RNG involved in this, guys. 25 to 100 from the Bronziums, etc., etc. If you are a newer player to the game and you're just starting to get into Relic levels, you're going to have a huge stash, more than likely, of these materials. But you're going to start to run out of them very quickly. And this is something that can really help your roster to keep you kind of balanced and on track with a lot of the farming things. So, Ram, treasure or trifling here, man. What is one thing that sticks out to you that's a really good buy? And maybe one of them that's something that's really not good, the kind of trifling and you should avoid at all costs. What are your thoughts here?
So I like buying these packs. When I decide to whale, these packs are generally a very, very good investment for what you get out of them. Me personally, I like the Carbonite circuit board just because of how much you get for it.
Yep.
It seems to be very, very helpful if you don't have the the salvage backload that a lot of players have, right? I've eaten through at this point. I've eaten through a lot of my salvage, so there's no real point to not buying that pack. The Bronzium, hit or miss. It can be good, but it's really only good if you ever get like the the 50 or obviously the 50 or above.
Right.
The 25 pieces, that's not a good one. The chromium transistor, stay away from. The chromium transistor is just that's not a good one, honestly. It's that is just, you can get so much more for so much less.
Yep.
That one's just it. Unless you like the whale, you don't need to get it. And I think you can buy these 10 times each. So 500 crystals times 10 is whatever.
Yeah.
The heat sinks.
Yep, 10.
Heat sinks are really good in my opinion. Electrum conductors can be good depending on the drop. Zimbittles, they can be good depending on the drop. I really only buy those if I need them. The impulse detectors and the air magnifiers, those are new. If I remember correctly.
Yeah, those are newer. Yeah, they haven't been around that long.
Those are new. Arrow magnifiers, I think a lot of people kind of have the arrow magnifiers at this point, so they don't really need them. Because of the raids.
Right.
But if you're someone who drops a lot of relics, then obviously arrow magnifiers might be something you need to look into. The impulse detectors are huge in my opinion.
Yes.
I think those are definitely a go-to. You really have the bad one that if you drop 2, you're kind of breaking even, right? But if you get 4, 6, 8, or 10, you're really golden on those.
Yeah.
So I leave it up to kind of, everybody's investment standard is different, and everybody's capability of what they can put in is different. But if you're someone who does not care about crystals and 500 is just a drop in the bucket for you, and you really want to take some relics to the next level, a few of these packs are really, really good. And I want to say there was a breakdown. I'm trying to find it. There was a breakdown I saw somewhere. Here, I found it. I will put it in. I'll send it over to you, Shaka, if you want to put it down in the down in your video.
Yeah, we'll put it in the description. Yeah.
Yeah, it's got it kind of breaks down the drop percentage and like which ones are obviously kind of breaking even, which ones you should not buy, and which ones are kind of best bang for your buck type thing. So it'd be a pretty good graph, visually, for someone who's might be interested in buying this. And it also tells you kind of what you should best farm and where to farm it, right? So for instance, hollow projectors, right? For the erodium heat sinks, tells you that's the best one. Don't waste time farming anything else for the erodium heat sinks. Only farm the hollow projectors, because those are going to be the best bang for your buck for getting erodium heat sinks. Yeah.
So I like that you brought up kind of the fact that you've got to look at how you farm this. So usually when we talk about, treasure or trifling, we tend to focus on just, is it a worthwhile investment? Because a lot of times packs are stuff that you can't necessarily get via farming. This is a bit of an exception to that rule. These are things you absolutely can get via farming. For instance, for me, without a doubt, like 2 of the absolute trifling ones that I would refer to are the erodium heat sinks and the chromium transistors. Simply because those are so easy to farm in other areas of the game, and you get massive return on investment for those things. Versus, like you said, impulse detectors, that's a really good one in my opinion. I actually personally don't use this one very often, not so much because it's a bad buy, but because where my roster is, I'm very infrequently going up into Relic 8 territory, unless it's a requirement. So usually for me, I'll just use my raid rewards to go for these instead of dropping the 500s. But if I'm much more of a late game player, where I'm bringing up some extras up into Relic 8, Relic 9 territory, because I have the ability to do that, my roster's fully Relic at this point, I think this is one of the absolute best buys. For me, personally, though, the absolute treasure of this is the Carbonite circuit board. I mean, you mentioned it earlier, the number that you get between 100 and 300, it's a massive number. And this is one, I know you can farm this in other nodes and things, but it is extremely time consuming and a low return on investment versus just going for this. And I think the chances are very good on some of these higher ends. So I dropped 1,500 just today on these, and I got a 150, a 200, and a 250. So like the chances, in my experience, and I know RNG is RNG, But I very frequently, if I do 2 or 3 of them, am getting 200 or higher on at least one of those rolls. So like the percentages are really good to get a high level of outcomes, so to speak, for that investment. And what that does for me, because bronziums are one that I have invested before with these packs, but your return on investment here is so much lower versus the carbonite circuit boards, that if I'm going to focus on farming like a node in particular to get materials for stuff, this is what I'd rather focus on a node for, which is what I do. So I used to do I forget which one it is, but it's the one that has the health pack for the Gear 12 stuff. I can't remember what it's called off the top of my head. Plus some stuff for this as well in the ship nodes. I've actually since then stopped doing that, and I use my raid currency to get the Gear 12 plus gear, and instead just farm the other one. I think it's like 7-2B something or like that. I can't remember exactly what it is, but so I do that one because it's way more return on investment.
Absolutely. The best one, in my opinion, for the bronzium wiring in particular, if you're not going to get this pack, the best one in particular is farming the light side Chirotech node.
I do that as well.
You farm that.
Yep.
You farm that. You're getting Kairos, which is always needed.
Right.
But then you also have one of the green pieces that drops that's literally all you use it for is getting bronziums.
Right.
So with doing 3 refreshes a day on that node, it'll get you a significant amount of bronzium wiring. So yeah, it's that in particular is where I kind of hover around farming for bronzium wiring. But the carbonite circuit board, 100%. I think the kind of the breakdown, if you get the absolute bare minimum 100, you're breaking even, right? It just you're breaking even if you were to go and grab pieces from the store to transform into carbonite circuit boards. At 100, you're breaking even. So that already, anything above that, the 150, 200, 250, or 300s, you're already skyrocketed your return on investment just by getting those.
Yeah, it's so it was 1D, by the way, is where I farm on ships. I do both the Cairo node on the light side as well as that, and I have not had an issue with bronzium since because I do that. Again, there's pros and cons to it, guys. Obviously, so obviously I've got to invest more through my raid materials to get some of that Gear 12 Plus material and stuff like that. But generally speaking, like I said, I just think in terms of return on investment and everything like that we mentioned, you're just getting a whole lot more with some of those things than you would otherwise. Guys, let us know in comments. Are these things that you guys invest in? Do you spend crystals on these packs, on these relic packs? I'd be intrigued to see if you guys do. And if you do, which ones do you invest in? I'm really intrigued in particular with this, Ram, because I think there's going to be a difference in end game players versus mid game and beginning game, because I think mid game and beginning will probably invest more in the carbonite stuff. And I expect more end game players are probably going to invest in the impulse detectors in particular. I'd be intrigued to see kind of how that breakdown is as you guys go. So let us know, folks, if you invest, what your favorite stuff to invest is, and then also where you are in the game. I'd be intrigued to see where you guys are at with that stuff and how you think on that. Guys, before we continue on to our last item here, Ram mentioned it earlier, folks. We are really, really close here to hitting the 1,000 subscriber goal here and being monetized on the channel. If you are watching this far into the video, guys, that means that you clearly like this content. So please make sure you guys like, subscribe, turn on those notifications, guys, so that we can hit that goal and get monetized here on this channel. I'd really, really appreciate that, everybody. Little data background, something like 50% of returning viewers are not subscribed, guys. If you're coming back here and you're watching this stuff, subscribe. What are you doing? It's easier, makes your life easier. Just subscribe and you don't have to keep finding this stuff over and over again. Anyway, moving on from that little PSA, guys. We've got our Master of Memes next, guys. One of my favorite segments. For those of you that don't know, we do the vote on this over on Twitch. These are all submitted via Discord. We vote on Twitch and then we shout out the winner. So we're going to take a look at our 2 Master of Memes today that faced each other on Friday. And then Rammer and I are going to let you guys know what our favorites are and what we think should win. Let's check it out, shall we? So, we have Rogue One, A Star Wars Story. Deluxe action figures. Collect all 6 by Kingsford. Jyn Erso, Cassian Andor, Urson Krennic, Baze Malbus, K2SO, and Chirrut Imwe. Fun fact, this is probably my favorite movie. Versus, Star Wars movie to be clear. Versus, oh God, I have another Palpatine. Another freaking Palpatine meme, guys. All right, it's not, at least it's not like Emperor Palpatine, it's Chancellor Palpatine. All right, here we go, Ram. You ready for this? Here we go. Certainly, Anakin. You can use my toilet. It's in that door on your left.
Okay, Jammy Jr. What would that do?
He's kind of British, isn't he? Oh, we talked about this on stream.
God.
I thought he was British. Which he is, sort of. He's Scottish. I'm sorry, all of you Scottish people that I just offended right now. Which makes him British, in my defense.
Yes, he is, but like your Palpatine impression was better the first time. And that's saying something because it was horrible.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Prime content here, guys. Anakin's response to that was, I have just learned a terrible truth. I think Chancellor Palpatine is a Sith Lord. That's my best Anakin
Sith
I've got
Lord?
too. Sith Lord? Yes. So, Ram, outside of the terrible accent, which meme do you think is better? Which one do you think should win, sir?
So, in typical Ram fashion, one of these memes is amazing, and the other one is just completely over my head, and I cannot understand it.
Oh, no.
I don't understand the Anakin one.
Oh,
the toilet paper one.
no.
It's completely over my head. I am baffled. I am trying to figure out the punchline of this meme, and I don't get it.
You're one of them.
I am one of them.
Ram is one of them, guys. I swear, I don't remember if we did a tier ranking on this or not, but we've discussed this on Twitch streams. We have absolutely discussed this it was one of our daily debates. Toilet paper, over or under? It was absolutely a daily debate. And people got riled up about it. Like, they got riled up. So I am hardcore team over. Anyone that puts the toilet paper under like this is a Sith. Dark side confirmed. Who does that?
It's toilet paper. Who cares?
Oh my gosh, you put your toilet paper bottom side out. Well, that makes sense. You do like the bottom. I don't know why I didn't think of that in the first place.
Look, it's all going to the same spot, my asshole. All right? It doesn't matter. The only difference is that there might be a spider hiding underneath the roll. All right? If you put it over on the top, maybe there's not a spider.
Yeah.
There's probably still a spider. It's just hiding on the other end. So it makes no sense. But I got to go with the Rogue One because the Rogue One, like I said, like Shaka said, it's his favorite Star Wars movie. It's right up there in my. It's like easily top 3 for me.
Yep.
Hands down, no questions asked. It is an amazing movie. Highly recommend you go and see it if you haven't seen it already. And this is just perfect because I can kind of even see like K2SO's eyes right there. I
didn't even notice that before. Yeah,
hey,
you
look
can
at
kind
that.
of see eyeballs there. Yeah,
that's just awesome. And then they're obviously all charcoal from the Death Star. So hands down, that meme wins.
By the way, so it's something I just thought of because you talked about a spider hiding in the bottom of the toilet paper there. I imagine we're gonna have to check with Heinze and confirm on this, but I want to guess that 100% of Australians do toilet paper on the over because there's spiders hiding everywhere down there in Australia.
Probably. Yeah.
We're gonna have to check with Heinze and confirm that, guys. But I imagine that all Australians would probably vote for Rogue One on this one because they're just scared of the spiders. Shout out to Heinze. Guys, the winner was. I feel like it was no contest on this one. Even though the toilet paper thing is absolutely true. The winner was Rogue One Deluxe action figures from Kingsford, guys. Shout out to Frankto, guys. Frankto submitted this one for submitting this and getting crowned the Master of Memes. Guys, let us know in comments, first of all, did you think this was a great Master of Memes submission? Did you think it should win? If you think you have a better Master of Memes submission, get over to Discord, guys. Submit it over into the Master of Memes channel, and we will get you featured both here on YouTube, over on Discord, and on Twitch as well, where we do the vote. It's a great time, ton of fun, everybody. Get involved. It should be a good time. All right, last but not least, guys. Ram, any final words before we head out and call it a day?
I just want content. All I want for Swigo is content.
Good luck with that. They're busy being the 2% probably. I don't know.
Content and communication.
Oh yeah.
The two C's of Swigo.
I'm afraid where that could go. Anyway, guys, last but not least, if you liked, obviously, the video, make sure you like, subscribe, turn on notifications. We mentioned that earlier. If you didn't catch the part 1 of Ram's video, guys, what are you still doing here? You should have gotten over there already. We already told you about this. Get over there, check it out, like, subscribe, turn on notifications, watch his video for him as well, guys. Last but not least, if you guys enjoyed what you saw today, make sure you guys check out the next video. See ya, everybody.